You lost 20% of our Japanese coming to, to Hawaii. But if you had gaming, they would come back. And this gives us an incentive why we need to look at it. And so now the question is, I like to bring a question to the public and let the public decide. And if the public don't want it, they should be given a choice. They have never been given a statewide choice. And I want to give them a statewide choice. Are you favor it or not? And I don't believe that we should be so paternalistic that we think that we're smarter than the public. We should give them an opportunity. There have been a number of polls. Yes, and I've seen the number of polls. And the polls favor basically lottery to some degree, and they're opposed to casino. But I've heard out on the streets, and not from Chinatown, that there's a lot of people saying it's about time.
Joe, you may not want to tell the people paternalistically, but we professors do that all the time. Professor Kindt, why not? Why, as you've undoubtedly heard since you came here this week, a fair proportion of Hawaii's population practically commutes to Las Vegas. It's believe me, I have friends, it seems to me, that they retired so that they could go 6 times a year rather than 4. But why not give them gaming here?
Well, first of all, Dan, let me thank you and Representative Suki and the people of Hawaii for constantly inviting me back here for this debate. I enjoy this weather. It's very cold in Illinois. Thanks for having me here in Hawaii. I really appreciate it.
You want us to run this flag up.
Yeah, but if we've done this academically. We had a federal commission that completed its report in 1999, the U.S. National Gambling Impact Study Commission, and they concluded that there should be a prohibition, a moratorium on the expansion of any type of gambling anywhere in the United States. And they specifically called for the recriminalization of slot machines where they're convenient to the public. They called for the criminalization of, or the elimination of any type of sports gambling where it's been legalized only in Nevada, and other various rollbacks on gambling. Why? Because it's lose-lose for the public. There's a fairly recent academic report out of published by Harvard and MIT, and it indicates that once you bring in these slot machines in particular, and we're really talking slot machines here, that the crime rate goes up 10%. And so we talk about what are called the ABCs of gambling. New addicted gamblers, like drug addiction, new bankruptcies up 18 to 42% in gambling areas after the gambling comes, and new crime going up 10% and then increasing thereafter. And this results in cost to the public, to the taxpayers, of $3, $4, $5 for every $1 in benefits. So it's lose-lose for the public. Why cannibalize? And that's an academic term when we talk about what gambling does to tourism. Why cannibalize your tourism and take those dollars out of tourism, take them out of the consumer economy, and put them into slot machines or these types of gambling activities, which then can leave the economy? You lose the multiplier effect, you lose jobs. It's lose-lose for everybody except the owners of the gambling.
Why have 48 states done it then? I mean, there are only 2 states do not have any form of gambling, Hawaii and Utah. Now, what are they all misguided and silly?
Well, that's one reason we had the Federal Commission, is because people weren't listening to the academic reports. I remember back in 1990 when the casinos were proposed for Illinois, academics were coming out of the woodwork saying, this is not going to work, don't do it. Well, they did it anyway. And it's because the gambling industry has tens of millions of dollars. The representative here is you know, he talks about a statewide vote, but the gambling industry can bring in tens of millions of dollars, and the Hawaii Coalition Against Legalized Gambling, the social action groups can only bring in $5,000, $10,000. They just get overwhelmed by the lobbying money that's out there. And let me give you just a quick example. In the state of Florida, the state of South Carolina, once they got the lottery in, there was a little unnoticed provision in there which allowed them to bring in slot machines. They wound up with thousands of slot machines on every corner, and Governor David Beasley took years to just get those slot machines out of the state, and once he did that, the economy took off. And in Illinois in 2005, we passed a bill out of the House of Representatives to recriminalize the casinos. Now, why did we do that? Well, after listening to the experts, they said, yeah, and the committee itself voted with only one dissenting vote in favor of the bill to recriminalize the casinos. Now, procedurally, it did not pass, but that's a political matter with our former governor, Rod Blagojevich, who got impeached. So I'll leave that discussion for later.
Any response to this, Joe?
Oh, yes. First of all, as far as the gambling interest coming over, I don't believe that the gambling interests want Hawaii to have gambling. We have over almost 300,000 people from Hawaii going to Las Vegas every year, transferring approximately $700 million in money to Las Vegas. So you think Mr. Boyd, California Hotel, wants to lose that? All the years that I have been advocating for gaming, not one time did I have a phone call from Mr. Boyd or anyone else asking to put in here. In fact, what I have been told is they don't want gaming in here, but they will come if there is gaming just to be competitive. But they got a gold mine from Hawaii by our citizens who can't wait to catch their plane. There's approximately 3 flights a week from Hawaii going to Vegas. The planes all filled, the pockets all filled, transferring our money to Las Vegas when we need the money here. And so this is one of the reasons that I would want to see them come here. People gamble in here anyway, Ken. They go to Chinatown, they go to homes, they gamble all over the place. They got a 6-5, and they have no control in it. At least when you go to Vegas or somewhere else, there is control. Here you have no control.
But what about the argument, which I think which resonates with me anyway, that the idea that if you put it on the ballot and you let gambling interests come in with their money, we've seen what happens when outside money comes in. They can have a terrific effect. Why don't you guys just raise taxes if you want to solve the problem?
That may come.
Economic problem.
That may come. We may have to raise taxes, but gambling interests, as I've mentioned, is not interested in having gaming here in Hawaii. We who know that we have a deficit, yes, we cannot balance the budget if we have gambling right now. Mm-hmm. But when you look at the trend up to 2012 to 2014, that we're going to continue to lose money. We're going to be, we're looking at approximately maybe $1.7 billion in lost revenue that's going down here. And that's a considerable amount of money. And in a period of 4 or 5 years, or even sooner, we could have a casino or something up if it's the desire of the public. But again, I wish to reiterate, I believe that the advocates have been more active in bringing people here against gaming than gaming people have been coming here to speak for gaming, as attributed to my good-looking friend here.
Well, thank you to my associate here, Representative Suki, and I appreciate what you have to say, but I think the strength of Hawaii and speaking, I mean, I came here for my honeymoon. You've got sun, surf, sea, scenery. You've got it all. You've got paradise in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Why throw that away and become another seedy type of Atlantic City? Or walk off the boardwalk at Atlantic City. See what's going on 2 blocks away from the Strip. Same thing in Las Vegas. See what's going on 2 blocks away from the Strip. It's really not generating, and let's forget the destination areas, those destinations. Look at all the other casinos around the United States. And they're down. It's not recession-proof. Everybody is hurting. So I don't think that this is an economic panacea. And if you bring in gambling, though, and let's talk, casinos are basically 90% of the money going into them is going into slot machines. We're talking slot machines here. We're not talking card games. And once you let the camel's nose under the tent, you've opened it up for other types of gambling. You bring in the lottery, you're starting into the casino-style gambling, and that's basically slots. And slots are known by the Federal Commission as the crack cocaine of creating new addicted gamblers. And once you open these up, you literally double the number of addicted pathological gamblers and the number of problem gamblers, because you're saying it's okay, they're drawn in, and we, the taxpayers, all have to pay for that. And businesses suffer because that money goes out of the consumer economy. And it goes into these slot machines, goes off to Macau, goes back to Las Vegas, goes to open up new casinos around the world. We lose the money. Don't lose the money. Stick with your strengths. And I've talked with a lot of business people and tourism groups all around the state, and they get it. They get it. Criminal justice people, they get it. They've done their homework. They realize this is really going to hurt the economy of Hawaii.
Joe, any response to that?
Well, yes, of course. And again, you're talking about taking away money if they have gambling interests here. They're taking away our money now. Our money is being transferred to a gambling interest away from the state. Now what we need is to turn that around so we can keep the money here, so we can pay forward for the improvement of our schools, so we can care for those who are having in the drug clinics, the drug problems, which we have a tremendous drug problem here in Hawaii. We have a tremendous problem in our scholastic system where it's rating low, and because we cannot pay the bills, we don't have the sufficient dollars to pay for the school system. The system that we have here in Hawaii, Dr. Kindt, is the fact that we provide for all of the services, unlike many mainland jurisdictions. We provide for the health services, the social services, agriculture, education, everything. Unlike in the mainland where you have the townships, the cities, the towns, all sharing a cost. We need to bear that cost. And we're having a very difficult time, not only now, even when the times are good, we don't have enough money. Yes, tourists come here for the climate and for the people, the aloha, but it's only good for the first time. They get bored after they've been here for a while. After they go to the beach for a little while, they enjoy the climate, they have a nice luau. After that, what? They don't have nothing. No entertainment.
I get bored doing this, though, sometimes, Joe.
Well, all you need is a good massage.
Oh, let's not start there. A 2% increase in the general excise tax would bring in $600 million, which is about the same as the revenues from 2 casinos. Which makes more sense economically?
Well, let me change that slightly. Let me go back to my state of Illinois, which brought in the casinos about 1990. They were up and running 1991, 1992. And basically, we lost about $2 billion a year leaving the state, and that translates into about $6 billion in lost consumer spending. So we're talking $20, $30 billion here. Just think of the sales tax revenue alone on that amount of money generating through the economy. That would have made up for the law. And by the way, once the casinos come in and they say, oh, taxes, taxes, what other industry comes in and says, please, taxes? They'll do anything to come in. And then once they're there, you should have seen the tax rate slowly go down on the casinos and the slot machines while the tax rate went up on the people of Illinois. Now the state of Illinois...
Well, why? They were offering tax...
Because of the power of the industry. The industry is incredibly powerful, making legal contributions in a legal way with legal lobbyists. They can pretty much dictate a lot of economic policy. And let me give you a classic example. After the terrorist attack on 9/11, the gambling industry went to the U.S. Congress and said, oh, we need money too. And in the 2002 economic stimulus bill, they got a $40 billion tax write-off for slot machines. And they were asking for $133 billion. And they're back there now. Originally, they were not included. There were actually provisions in there by members of Congress who remembered the last time and said, we're not going to be... Slot machines are not economic stimulus. And they went back there, and Harry Reid is now trying to reinsert that the casinos are going to get these tax breaks.
John, excuse me,
that's power.
Oh, that's power. But I hear in the tone, in the way that you present this, your tone is sort of like it's like bringing in the devil and sin into the town. If you bring in gambling, you know that everything goes to the devil, and all bad things happen. And that people gamble. They've gambled forever. Will
you're
gamble
right.
forever.
People gamble. We're not talking about people gambling. We're talking about government-sponsored predatory gambling. We're talking about governments preying on their own people, encouraging people to gamble. You drive down the street, you don't see billboards that say, drink more alcohol because we get some tax revenues. Right. Smoke more cigarettes, we get some tax revenues. But you do see billboards that say gamble. And you see in Chicago, for example, in the poorest sections, hey, this